Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and I was always told I had a voice radio, so today I am showing you a really quite interesting new Victreebell card. Now, Victreebell's seen a little bit of love in the Pokémon trading card game before. There have been cards that looked like they should be playable, but nobody really played. But this new Victreebell, we've got Forest of Giant Plants. And that, ladies and gentlemen, changes everything. So Victreebell is a grass Pokemon, which is mainly here important for Forest of Giant Plants, and that's important. Now, you are hitting weakness against things like Lycanroc and Zygarde and Lapras, which did well in Malmo this past weekend, so it's not a bad typing for that regard. Weakness to fire is slightly annoying because of Volcanion, and because of Decidueye, because Decidueye is a huge deck. Everyone's trying to counter it, and they'll end up countering you as well. But Forest of Giant Plants is key here. It means that you can evolve up Victreebell straight away, turn one of the game. And of course, Victreebell has a 1 energy attack, and I'm a big fan of 1 energy attacks. You use Forest of Giant Plants to evolve straight up to Victreebell, attach a single energy, and you're off. And it's a good attack. 20 damage, plus poison, plus burn, plus confusion. So between turns, the opponent takes 10 from poison. Between turns, they take 20 for burn, 20, and then you flip a coin if heads you're no longer burned. But until they flip a heads, they're taking 20 between turns. And then you've got confusion, whereby if they try and attack, they flip a coin, and if tails, they take 30 damage. So in the best case scenario, you attack with Victreebell. They take 2 lots of poison damage, there's 20. They take 2 lots of burn damage, there's 40. They try and attack but flip a tails, there's 30. That's 90 extra damage, plus the 20 base is 110. Now, this isn't always going to happen, it's flip reliant. You are assuming your opponent is going to flip tails on the first burn. Second burn doesn't matter, they'll still take the 20 damage. And you're assuming they're going to flip tails on confusion. And there's only really a 1 in 4 chance of both those flips being tails. I get it, but still, that could be fun. And your opponent can always just retreat, or play a switch or an escape rope, but they've got to have one of 2 things in order to do that. They've either got to have a secondary attacker ready to go, or they've got to have something like a free retreating Pokemon or a float stone on a Pokemon so that they can switch into a new Pokemon and then retreat back into their attacker. Otherwise, they can get their poison, burn, and confused attacker out the active, but they don't have a new attacker they can't attack. And that's where the fun comes in here. Even where your opponent isn't sitting there taking poison, burn, and confusion damage, and they often won't because they'll be trying to get out the active, they'll be putting themselves in a position where they can't attack for a turn. And I'm sorry to say this, but the obvious partner here is Vileplume. It works for Decidueye and Vileplume. They're both Stage 2 grass Pokemon with Forest of Giant Plants. It can work for Victreebell Vileplume. And of course, they both begin with V, so you've got the alliteration going on. And here, then they can't play a float stone or a switch or an escape rope. When you're taking advantage of special conditions, you want to give your opponent as few options as possible to get out of them. Victreebell is amazing in terms of putting on special conditions, so clearly here, you want to be trying to take advantage of this. Now, there are Pokemon like the new Klefki who get rid of all special conditions on your fairy Pokemon. Fine. You know, there are some options out there. I went through it a bit more comprehensively in my Poison Barb video, so check that out, link in the description, if you want to hear more of a discussion on that. That's not really where we're going today. Today, we are just saying that Victreebell can put on all 3 special conditions, and you want to use Vileplume to really stop them getting out of it. And anytime they're stuck in the active and forced to take the flips, you're probably going to be having a good game. And then, of course, there's a second attack, which works very nicely. Grass double colorless, stick and absorb. 80 damage, good. Heal 20 from this Pokemon, good. Your opponent's active Pokemon can't retreat during their next turn. Good. And it's for a grass colourless, so you can use double colourless energy here. And of course, what you do is you use a first attack to poison, burn and confuse them. If they then can't get out the active and under item lock under Vileplume, that's going to be much more difficult. And then you just stick them in the active, healing yourself, doing damage, forcing them to keep taking poison and burn until they flip heads, and confusion if they flip tails. And the deck really writes itself in that regard. You sit there and hopefully you get a KO with a second attack while healing 20, but even if you don't, you put on the special conditions, then you do decent damage and heal while stopping them retreating, forcing them to keep taking those special conditions. And don't forget, I want to stress this again, you can evolve straight up on turn 1 with Victreebell, and it's a single energy attack. So if you go second, you can literally just go turn 1, Victreebell, poison, burn, and confusion. That is lovely. The real question with Victreebell is anyone playing it over Decidueye? Because if you're going to take advantage of Victreebell, you are going to be using it with Vileplume. That's the best use. But we've got Decidueye GX, who might be the best deck in the format at the moment with Vileplume. And we've got the new Trevenant coming out that does, 30 damage for every trainer card in your opponent's hand. I did a video about that, link in the description. And the problem is that those are maybe better options than Victreebell. It's not that I don't like Victreebell Vileplume as an idea for a deck. I really do. I think it could be very good. I'm just not convinced it's better than Decidueye Vileplume or Trevenant Vileplume, so I'm not 100% sure why I would play it. So even though I love it, I'm going to have to give it between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies, that would be barbaric. Now you know the deal, ladies and gentlemen, there is a comment section. Go nuts, be nice. There are buttons to both like this video and subscribe to this channel. I would be a happy camper if you use them both. You can find me on Twitter at the Wassie, and the most important thing as always is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.